Hey guys, Will Potato Strong here. I'm going to go through some of the videos and sites that I found this week for This Week in Plants. So this was a video that Carbon Marvin recorded in Washington. It was a Plant Pure Nation rally, and that was Dr. Greger, Dr. Neil Bernard, and T. Colin Campbell talking about the need to go to a plant-based diet, and this there's a documentary coming out on July 4th. So this is a video that you guys should check out. I'll put the links below in the description. Let's just click on that for a second. Skip a little bit ahead here.
Committee members who were writing the guidelines. And we found that of 11 committee members, 6 of them had ties to the meat industry, the egg industry, or the dairy industry.
So that's a cool video to check out. Looking forward to that documentary. There's a couple more online conferences. This one, The Real Truth About Health Conference, is starting on the 22nd of May. It's got some great speakers. Hans Diehl will be there, Joel Furman. Lots of good stuff here. Meatonomics, David Simon, Will Tuttle from World Peace Diet also. It says here to film a showing of Plant Pure Nation, so I'm not sure if they'll show the whole thing, but that would be an advanced screening of the documentary. Becoming Vegan, Brenda Davis. So that one's should be cool. There's another one. Yeah, so Living Vegan Vibrantly. I'll just show you some of the speakers. Dr. Neil Bernard, Caldwell Susteen. This is Emily from Bite Size Vegan, T. Colin Campbell, John McDougall, Chef AJ. So some good speakers in this one. Hey, you guys check out. I'll put the link to that one as well. Another online conference, so lots of good information out there. This is an article from UC Davis, discovering the truth about the glycemic index. So that one, let's see here. So glycemic index, a lot of people are talking about glycemic index and they worry about insulin. But glycemic index is just when you look at carbs in isolation. Most people eat them with fats and proteins and that'll have a different effect. So there's another thing called glycemic load, which is more accurate. But there's actually an interesting topic here that she talks about. It shows that several studies indicate that when you add protein to a meal containing carbs, the blood sugar may decrease, but your insulin response spikes. So a lot of people are always trying to focus on the blood sugar, but if you look at insulin, a lot of protein actually raises insulin more than vegetables and things like that. So the presence of protein exponentially increases the insulin spike compared to what it would be if the carbohydrate had been ingested on its own. Same is true when you mix fats. So even the person who invented the glycemic index eats a whole food plant-based diet. So that's an interesting article to check out. I mentioned Will Tuttle in that one webinar. There's a book called The World Peace Diet that I'm reading right now. I'll put a link to that. It kind of talks about the history of starting to raise animals, and then the wars that started over, taking other people's livestock, and then how that translates to a lot of the other wars and aggression towards other humans and ownership of others and stuff like that. That's a really interesting book. There's a video on Vegetarian Society of Hawaii
I think the underlying message is enormously positive. The underlying message is that all of us have been raised in a society where we have been forced from the time we're little kids to participate in mealtime rituals that are not in our best interests. And that the greatest adventure we can go on in terms of living a life of meaning and purpose and authenticity, really of awakening ourselves spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, intellectually, and just on the level of physical health, is to question the great taboo. The taboo, I refer to it in the World Peace Diet, against knowing who you're eating, right? That this basic taboo shuts us down on many levels, psychologically and intellectually, emotionally, when we're forced as little kids, as I said, from the time we're basically infants, to participate in mealtime rituals. Anthropologists understand that meals are the most powerful way that any society passes its values from generation to generation. Ritual.
So that's a really good one. I guess I really encourage you guys to look at that one. There's an article that was posted about vegan athletes. So that's an interesting one because a lot of people think, they don't think vegans have enough protein or energy, but or they can't bodybuild. But this is an article about. I'm going to actually look at the original because it's got a photo here. A lot of vegans are, a lot of athletes are going vegan. All this guy's pretty built here, and a lot of people are talking about, when they were bodybuilding, they ate a lot of meat, and because they were obsessed with protein, and what they start to discover. There's lots of other things in bodybuilding. There's bulking and cutting and all these other things. And with the plant-based diet, people can stay lean and mean all year round. And they also notice the recovery is a lot better. So that's an important factor. When you recover quicker, you can work out and get better results. You can work out sooner and have better recovery. So it's always good to see vegan athletes being promoted. And there's an article on the McDougall forum. I highly recommend you go there, and you can look at Jeff Novick has a sub forum on there. But there's one for maximum weight loss, and you can use the search feature, search the topic or search within the forum to find answers to your questions. I really like Jeff Novick as far as his overall approach to eating. Calorie density is a big one. So here's an article: Is food really unlimited? So you'll hear people talk about unlimited food, carbs, just like in this lifestyle. And he talks about whether you can really eat all you want. And so after the first couple of posts, Jeff does a response here. And it says unlimited does not mean unlimited in the sense you can eat all you want of anything. But it means that if you follow the principles, you'll be able to eat all you want of the recommended foods until you are comfortably full and still lose weight. And then there's a mention of these calorie densities. So fresh veggies are 100 calories a pound, and oil gets up to 4,000 calories a pound. So when you eat food, he found that when people eat in the 400 range, they can lose weight. 400 to 800, they tend to, with moderate exercise, they tend to lose weight. And if you're up 800 or more, they tend to gain weight. So instead of worrying about portions and calories, which are really hard to measure, and how much you burned, and that really having any sense of the exact thing, the better way to go is to focus on calorie density and just eat lower in the calorie density. So that's fruit, veggies, starchy vegetables, and intact whole grains like rice. And I eat beans and some bread and some nuts, but the bulk of it is the lower calorie density food. So and there's all sorts of continuing posts in that area, but that's a good one. And just to top this off, I'm going to show you guys the photos from my Facebook page for the last week. I've had, these are buckwheat pancakes. You can put pure maple syrup on there, or some fruit, blueberries, strawberries, whatever you like, bananas. tacos. I bake my own tortillas into taco shape, so you lay them on the oven rack and you fold them over 2 bars in the oven, and as they bake, they form a taco shape. And there's no oil in these tortillas, so they're great, really crunchy. You got to make sure they bake long enough to get past that stage where they bend, but you want them to be crunchy and break when you bite into them. This is an udon noodle. I call it like a sweet Thai chili sauce I use to caramelize and at the end, and they're really slick. It almost feels oily, and I put all sorts of vegetables: peas, edamame, broccoli, carrots, onions. You can put all sorts of things in here. Sriracha sauce if you like that hot sauce on top. This is a tofu scramble. Got a recipe for that as well. I got recipes for all this. And breakfast potatoes. Bake those in the oven. They're amazing. These are cauliflower wings, super popular out there since I posted the recipe. I normally use my own breadcrumbs. I make them myself. I just kind of bake some whole grain bread and blend it with some spices like onion and garlic powder and cayenne pepper, whatever you like to put in there, paprika. But this time I use these no oil panko breadcrumbs. There's so much work sometimes to make all this food. Sometimes you look for something made for you, but the flour's not. It's like enriched flour. It's not the best, but I just gave it a try. They came out great. Salad. I eat a lot of salad with spinach or kale, romaine lettuce, cucumber, tomatoes, red green pepper, and I use a balsamic vinegar on this one. Rice and beans. These are pinto beans, homemade brown rice. So when you have a batch of beans and rice, you can really make meals quick. And some corn tortillas. I bake those so they're crispy. And salsa. I use hot, chunky, extra chunky salsa. President's Choice in Canada. I've made salsa as well. Pasta, holy pasta with, I've got a marinara sauce recipe. So I fry up some onions and green pepper and red pepper, garlic. And then I add to the sauce crushed tomatoes with, there's no oil, and then I add in some frozen chopped spinach. And some spices, Italian spices, and that's great. This is the tzatziki sauce. I've got a recipe for that with silken tofu. I use dill pickle juice a lot. And these are chives on top, so I put that on a baked potato, and it's great in falafels. Potato soup. That's really good. I found when you blend a potato in water or vegetable broth, it's super thick. You don't need any cream, like a lot of people put butter and stuff like that in their soups. And so the base is just a blended cooked potato with vegetable stock powder or vegetable broth and water. If you don't use vegetable stock, if you use vegetable stock powder and water, that's one option, or vegetable broth. And then you can dump in some corn, cooked corn, and onion, garlic powder. You can optionally use like a non-dairy milk as well. Bean burger and fries. Springtime's coming now, May. It's a great meal. It's just like a regular burger, but you put your ketchup and mustard, and onions, tomatoes, pickles, and lettuce. And you can use Ezekiel whole grain sprouted whole grain bread, or find some local bakeries that you can make some whole grain bread for you with no oil, hopefully. World Peace Diet, I'm reading that as I mentioned. So that's about it. So I hope you guys like that, and I'll put the links in the description below, and you can check out those links. See you guys. That was This Week in Plants.